Hey guys, what's up? So I've got a few gardening chores that need to get done today since it is actually a little warmer during the day today. But also, I need to talk to you guys finally about why I have decided to accept an affiliate for the channel. And I've been waiting to tell you guys about this because I wanted to make sure that I had the time to fully explain why I like them enough to become an affiliate. But as life goes, there's always a bunch of stuff to be done. So you guys are going to come along with me while I do these garden chores, and I'm going to tell you guys about my new affiliate. So the company that I have decided to become affiliated with is Organic Rev, and they make this organic growth stimulant. It's not really a fertilizer in the traditional sense of the word, but it does kind of act like a fertilizer in how it works with your plants. I really like this product because of the approach that it takes to giving nutrition to your plants. Instead of saying, oh, my plants need more potassium, for example, and adding just straight potassium in the form of a fertilizer to your soil, what this does is it is adding organic carbon based compounds, and it is adding microbes in the form of mostly bacteria to the soil, and these things are going to kind of work more long term and throughout the entire ecosystem of your soil to help your plants get more nutrients in the long run. So the thing is, when it comes to adding nutrients to your soil, simply adding the nutrients isn't good enough. You can add all the nutrients you want to your soil and maybe still not see results if they're not sticking around in the soil and if they're not bioavailable to your plants. And what bioavailable means is it just means that it's in a form that your plants can use. And so if you're adding nutrients and fertilizers specifically to your soil and still not seeing a lot of results, it could just be that your soil is not in a place where Kate is chasing a bird. It could just be that the nutrients are not being held in the soil long enough for them to get used up. Rain and watering regularly can rinse nutrients out of the soil, especially the ones that are water soluble. It could just be that it's in a form that your plants can't use. And oftentimes the way to correct that is by adding bacteria to your soil that can process those nutrients into a form that your plants can use. As far as keeping nutrients in the soil, one of the main things that can help with that is called humic acid. There is a part of the soil called the humus. It's spelled like hummus, but I'm going to say humus because it is not hummus like the food. And so the humus of the soil, part of that is humic acid, which you might hear a lot of talk about in the gardening and agricultural community because it is super important for helping hold nutrients in the soil. What it can do is it can bind to ions, which are nutrients that are charged, and hold them there, and these molecules of humic acid actually are attracted to the roots of plants, and so they stick to these nutrients, hold them in place from washing away, and then basically take them right up to the roots of your plants. And so having enough humic acid in your soil is really key to helping your plants actually obtain the nutrients that they need to survive. Right now I am weeding this area where I planted my carrots, and I am attempting to gently pull out everything that is not a carrot without disturbing my carrots. And it is kind of a painstaking process, but I very badly want my carrots to survive. So I'm going to sit here every day and do a little bit of this and hopefully unearth some carrots. So another thing that humic acid has been shown to do is help balance the fungal populations and the bacterial populations in the soil between harmful and beneficial. And specifically, I have a paper linked below that shows that humic acid addition of it took a soil that was kind of high in some of the harmful bacteria and brought it more into balance with the beneficial bacteria. And this is kind of huge as far as growing a garden, growing food, because what you really need is a functioning soil ecosystem, right? That kind of balances out the good and the bad so that your plants are less overrun with disease, right? If there's a balance of good and bad, then it's a whole lot easier to make sure that your plants aren't actually, oh, Kata scared me. She's making little crunches. It's a whole lot easier for your plants to fend off the bad things if they also have the good things. It's kind of like with gut health. We don't know a whole lot about gut health, but what we do know is that when it's really unbalanced, bad things start to happen. And similarly with the microbes in the soil, they need to be balanced in order to keep everything really healthy. And humic acid is a great way to make sure that that balance stays in place. Right now I'm turning my compost pile and mostly just trying to get all of the newer sticks on the bottom and kind of check the underneath that I haven't touched in a while and see how broken down it is. I also added one of my Bokashi buckets that has fermented to the bottom of the pile so that it can continue doing its thing with the microbes in the ground. And one of the things that you might also be thinking that is related to this is that compost is a good way to add microbes to the soil, and you are absolutely right. It is full of a whole lot of good healthy microbes, and it is definitely something that should be part of your gardening soil maintenance routine. However, compost is not really going to be the most efficient way to repair an already damaged soil, one that is low in humic acid, low in nutrients, low in biology in general. Like, it will happen over time, but it's not like a super efficient and quick way to get that done. You know, you're looking at several years of remediation with compost versus an early influx of humic acid that could really give the entire area a boost if the soil is already really lacking in that. So I've moved all of the new sticky, like woody stems off of the pile and uncovered this down here, which looks to be really good broken down compost, which I'm super excited to spread on the garden, not today, but definitely on another day. I was expecting it to be warm, but it's kind of cool to the touch. And you see this white on here? This, I think, is fungus, or mycelium, which is like the root part of fungus that goes underground and kind of weaves its way into things, interacts with plant roots, all of that. That's what this white thread like stuff is. I think that section right there is the Bokashi that I stuffed into the compost pile a few weeks ago. What tends to happen with Bokashi is once you add it back to an aerobic environment, where previously it was anaerobic, right, in the bucket, no air, and either bury it in the soil or put it in your compost pile, it tends to break down pretty quickly. Usually people see it fully breaking down within a matter of weeks, as little as like 2 weeks sometimes, but it really just depends how broken down your Bokashi was to begin with. I don't do something like grind it up, so it takes mine a little bit longer because I have like entire avocado shells in there, which take forever to break down. But some of the smaller stuff does break down really, really fast, and it makes a really great compost. Side note, if you're interested in how to Bokashi, I do have a playlist on that. And all of these woody stems, if I don't really do anything about it, it will take them a very long time to break down. I might need to find the time to come in here and use my loppers and kind of cut them into small pieces so that there's not so much air between them, and I can actually mix them with some greens to kind of get them breaking down faster. But that's one of those things that only happens when you have a lot of time. And you guys know I packed my schedule pretty full. I do not have a lot of time. Going back to the topic of the balancing of the good and the bad, there is no like hard data that this product does this, but I do have a suspicion that applying Organic Rev to my peppers this summer helped with the, I think, bacterial disease that I was seeing in them, those spots on the leaves and the like general sadness of the whole plants. I applied it kind of after I noticed that that was getting bad, and over the next few weeks the plants seemed to get a lot better. And like I said, I cannot say for sure that that's why that happened, but it makes sense to me that that would be why, that adding in all of these good bacteria would help fight the harmful bacteria that were causing disease in my peppers. Something you might be wondering though is, if your soil is already healthy, why would you need a product like this? And I think the answer is that your soil might be doing pretty well, but it's probably not doing as well as it could be, because nearly all the land on this earth has been disturbed in some way. And the disturbing of the soil is a main reason that soil structure gets destroyed, basically. And that structure of the soil is what is holding on to nutrients, is what is containing your humic acid. And tilling especially is something that if you've been doing that year after year, you are resetting your soil health year after year and not allowing all of that good bacteria and that humic acid interaction to flourish. And so I think for pretty much all of us, you will see that adding this product to your soil will really increase the overall health of your soil long term. And then especially if you are in an area with difficult soil that doesn't have a good amount of organic matter already in it, then this will jumpstart remediation of that soil to a much better place for regular growing. Now, one of the main exceptions to this is going to be people who are in the general like plains areas of the world, because the plains are actually one of the areas with the richest amount of humic acid in the soil, because of the fungi that interact with the grasses in those grasslands. And I'm not going to go into that here, but I will leave links below if you're curious about exploring that. And then even if the humic acid content of your soil is high, the beneficial bacteria might still be low if that soil has been tilled repeatedly, because harmful bacteria tend to be the bacteria that thrive in tilled soils. So all of that being said, I will continue to use this product in my own garden, and I will recommend it to you guys because I do really believe in gardening by thinking about the entire ecosystem of the soil and not just, oh, my tomatoes need calcium, I'm gonna like straight add calcium to the soil, because I don't believe that that's gonna like really help your plants now and in the long term. Because like I said, if you add all the nutrients in the world to the soil and you don't have a way to capture them and keep them in the soil and make them bioavailable, it's not going to help. What do you think of that, Kata? What's it smell like? So applying is just as easy as that. You add it to water, and you don't even really need that much. I think this bottle would be plenty for me for an entire year for a garden my size, and that is enough to apply all over twice a year, and also enough left over for things like experimenting with my seedlings. This is supposed to help reduce transplant shock, and I'm expecting that that is because there's more nutrients available and better bacteria to help support its immunity. And it is also supposed to help seeds germinate faster, which would be really interesting. I'm going to see if that's true this spring, because I did not have this last spring when I was sprouting all of my seeds. But as far as where you can get it, I will have a link down below. That is my affiliate link, which means that I get a commission for every sale that happens through that link, and that does not increase your price whatsoever. In fact, it decreases it because through me you can get 10% off on your order. So I will leave that link below, and it will be below every video that I make going forward. So if you're looking for it later, it's just always going to be right there in the description. I hope you guys know at this point that I would not spend my time promoting a product that I don't use and support myself. There have been hundreds of brands at this point that have approached me asking me to promote their products, and this is the only one that has made it through my screening process so far, and actually only one of 3 or 4 that has made it past my inbox and delete. So I do highly recommend that you check it out, because I think that the future of growing needs to be more eco-friendly and sustainable, and just adding synthetic fertilizers year after year, tilling your soil year after year, that's not it. That's not the way to improve soil long term and continue growing really nutritious and reliable and productive crops. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, happy gardening. As a side note, right here where the hose is, this is also the window to my office, and this is one of my AC units, and Kata will sit up here regularly, and she will put her paws up and look at me through the window and ask me to come in, which I think is really smart. But also she uses her claws, and that's starting to be a problem for the screen. And I say, oh well, I'll replace the screen. I'm really proud of her for being smart enough to get my attention through this window. I think it's really cool.